Hello BookTube, it's Leah Cooper here, and today I am bringing you my 5-star predictions video, basically where I tell you 5 books that are on my pretty immediate TBR, like books I plan to read before the end of the year that I think are going to be 5-star reads for me. This isn't exactly a tag, but this idea, this video format idea, was started by Mercedes over at Mercy's Bookish Musings. I will leave a link to her latest video. She's done 2 so far where she gave her 5 books she thought were going to be 5 stars. She read them and then she did a wrap-up with all of her thoughts on those books, like what star rating she ended up giving all of them. I will link down to her latest predictions video, and like I said, these books I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get to all of them before the end of the year, so I should be able to do kind of like my reaction slash wrap up in a couple of months. We shall see. Anyways, let's just get right into the predictions. So the book that I'm most confident that I'm going to give 5 stars to is The Glasstown Game by Catherynne and Valente. This is one of 2 books that I have pre-ordered this year, so it's a big deal when I actually pre-order a brand new book and a hardcover. But my library was not going to be ordering this anytime soon, and I really want to read it because if you've been watching me for very long, you'll know that I am a huge Catherynne and Valente fan, and except for Palimpsest, I've given all of her books 4 or 5 stars. Most of them I've given 5 stars. This is a middle grade story about the Bronte siblings and an imaginary land. It is either a continuation or an expansion of a short story that was in her short story collection, The Bread We Eat in Dreams, which I read earlier this year, which I loved, and I loved that short story in particular. So I am very excited for this. And for middle grade, it is a chunky little book. The cover, I'll go ahead and show you this, because the wraparound illustration is quite cute. Hopefully that is in focus. The end pages are really cute. Like, I'm not a big aesthete when it comes to my books. Like, I don't mind reading ebooks. But I will say it was a good little investment, and I ordered this through my local indie bookseller, so I don't feel too bad. So I'm very confident about this book. The next book, and I'm also pretty confident about this one, is, I think this is the American title, His Majesty's Dragon, which is by Naomi Novik. This is the first book in her Temeraire series, which I think alternatively this is sometimes titled just Temeraire. So this is her Napoleonic historical fiction steampunk dragons. I guess that would be like a Fantasy of Manners series about the Napoleonic Wars, but with dragons. Like, what else do I need to say? So I've said this before, I love Naomi Novik's fan fiction. I've been a huge follower of her in fandom for, oh god, probably a decade or more, now that I'm thinking about it. When did Stargate Atlantis air? Was that 2004 or 2003? Because it ended in 2008. Okay, never mind, we're moving on. Anyways, for a very long time. I finally read her standalone Uprooted earlier this year, and I loved it. It's on my probably top 10 favorite books that I've read so far in 2017. And so I'm feeling pretty confident that I'm gonna like this as well. After that, I've got a book that I've actually already checked out from the library. I just have to finish reading another book before I can get to it, and that is A Gentleman's Position by KJ Charles. I feel like this is kind of cheating because I've given almost every single KJ Charles book 5 stars. I think I've given maybe 2 of her books 4 stars. Like, she's an easy read for me. Like, she's one of my favorite authors. I love all of her books. This is the 3rd book in a series that I recently started, and I loved the first book. And it might seem weird that I'm saying, oh, I think I'm gonna give the 3rd book a 5-star when I haven't actually read the 2nd book, but these are companion novels, which means each book, the 2 protagonists are different in each book because it's, you know, like a clique of friends, and, you know, each of them gets a different book. Standard romance novel fare. And this 3rd one in particular is about 2 characters who I was like so hoping would get their own book, and so then when I realized that they did get their own book, I was like, yes! it was just like, oh, I'm very excited for it. So yeah, that's another easy one, like probably cheating, but whatever. Then the next thing I think I might give 5 stars is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Man, it took me a second to remember her last name because I'm doing this without notes. So I've owned a copy of The Song of Achilles pretty much since it was published. I read the sample on Amazon and was just swept away by the first couple of chapters. And then I bought it and promptly never got around to reading it, because isn't that just typical? So I can say for a fact that I really enjoyed Madeline Miller's writing style and the way she was crafting the story. I'm not 100% sure I'll give this 5 stars. It might only be a 4-star read. Just knowing what I do about, you know, the story of Achilles and I can never say his name. Patroclus. Knowing the story, knowing, you know, the tragic ending of them, and how big a sucker I am for epic, sweeping, beautiful love stories with a tragic ending. I'm a huge sucker for that. I suspect that I might end up giving this 5 stars. And then the last thing I'm putting on this list, and this is definitely the wild card, and that's why it's number 5, is Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. It's a little shameful that I haven't read this book. The movie is one of my favorite movies. I absolutely adore it. It is like my ultimate October Halloween film. I just love it. I love the style. I love the story. I love the sets and the actors, and oh, it's so good. And I have never actually read the book. But Alice Hoffman is finally writing another book in this universe. It's actually like a prequel or something. And it is coming out, I think, in October. So I figure I gotta get Practical Magic read so that I can read the new book. It's time. It's time to finally read this. Now, I've never read any of Hoffman's books before. And it is, I mean, it is magical realism, but it's also like, I think, women's fiction-y magical realism. And women's fiction can go either way for me. Like, sometimes I freaking love it, and then other times it's like the Friday Night Knitters Club and I DNF it. Just cannot do it. So it's on this list because I do love the story and I love the movie that came out of this book, and I really want it to be a 5-star read, but I'm saying it with slight trepidation that it might not be, but we shall see. So anyways, those are my 5 books on my immediate kind of end of 2017 TBR that I think I'm gonna give 5 stars. I will be sure to check back when I have read all these books, and we shall see how good I was at picking out 5-star reads for myself. So this isn't technically a tag video, so I'm not going to tag anyone, but if you're watching this and this sounds like a fun thing to do, like, go out, make a predictions video of what 5 books you think you are going to give 5 stars. Let me know that you made it down below and I will go watch it. Or just let me know down in the comments some books that you think are going to be 5-star reads, if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned and they are 5-star reads for you. And I'll see you guys in my next video.